Mindset: The New Psychology of Success by Carol S. Dweck, Ph.D., read by Avicenna. Chapter 1: Mindsets. When I was a young researcher just starting out, something happened that changed my life. I was obsessed with understanding how people cope with failures, and I decided to study it by watching how students grapple with hard problems. So I brought children one at a time to a room in their school, made them comfortable, and then gave them a series of puzzles to solve. The first one were fairly easy, but the next one were hard. As the students grunted, perspired, and toiled, I watched their strategies and probed what they were thinking and feeling. I expected difference among children in how they cope with the difficulty, but I saw something I never expected. Confronted with this hard puzzle, one 10-year-old boy pulled up his chair, rubbed his hands together, smacked his lip, and cried out, "I love a challenge!" Another, sweating away on this puzzle, looked up with a pleased expression and said with authority, "You know, I was hoping this would be informative." What's wrong with them? I wonder. I always thought you cope with failure, or you didn't cope with failure. I never thought anyone loved failure. Were these alien children, or were they on to something? Everyone has a role model, someone who pointed the way at a critical moment in their life. These children were my role models. They obviously knew something I didn't, and I was determined to figure it out. To understand the kind of mindset that could turn a failure into a gift, what did they know? They knew that human qualities such as intellectual skills could be cultivated, and that's what they were doing. Getting smarter. Not only were not they discouraged by failure, they didn't even think they were failing. They thought they were learning. I, on the other hand, thought human qualities were carved in stone. You were smart or you were not, and failure mean you were not. It was that simple. If you could arrange successes and avoid failures at all costs, you could stay smart. Struggles, mistakes, and preferences were just not part of this picture. Whether human qualities are things that can be cultivated or things that are carved in stone is an old issue. What this belief means for you is a new one. What are the consequences of thinking that your intelligence or personality is something you can develop, as opposed to something that is a fixed, deep-seated trait? Let's first look at on the old age. Firstly, which debate about human nature, and then return to the questions of what this belief means for you. Why do people differ? Since the dawn of time, people have thought differently, acted differently, and fared differently from each other. It was guaranteed that someone would ask the questions of why people differed. Why some people are smarter or more moral, and whether there was something that made them permanently different. Experts line up on both sides. Some claim that there was a strong physical basis for these differences, making them unavoidable and unalterable. Through the ages, these alleged physical differences have included bumps on the skull, like phrenology, and the size and shape of the skull, craniology, and today, genes. Others pointed to the strong differences in people's background experiences, training, and ways of learning. It may surprise you to know that a big champion of this view was Alfred Binet, the inventor of the IQ test. Was not the IQ test meant to summarize children's unchangeable intelligence? In fact, no. Binet, a Frenchman working in Paris in the early 20th century, the scientists to test to identify children who were not profiting from the Paris public school, so that new educational program could be designed to get them back on track. Without denying individual differences in children's intellect, he believed that education and practice could bring about fundamental changes in intelligence. Here is a quote from one of the major books, Modern Ideas About Children, in which he summarizes his work with hundreds of children with learning difficulties. A few modern philosophers assert that individuals' intelligence is a fixed quantity, a quantity which cannot be increased. We must protect and react against this brutal pessimism with practice, the training, and above all, method. We manage to increase our attention, our memory, our judgment, and literally to become more intelligent than we were before. Who is right? Today, most experts agree that it's not either or, it's not nature or nurture, genes or environment. From conception on, there is constant give and take between the two. In fact, as Gilbert Gottlieb, an eminent neuroscientist, put it, not only do genes and environment cooperate as we develop, but genes require input from the environment to work properly. At the same time, scientists are learning that people have more capacity for lifelong learning and brain development than they ever thought. Of course, each person has a unique genetic endowment. People may start with different temperament and different aptitudes, but it's clear that experience, training, and personal effort take them the rest of the way. Robert Sternberg, the present-day guru of intelligence, writes that the major factor in whether people achieve expertise is not some fixed prior ability but purposeful engagement. Or as his forerunner Binet recognized, it's not always the people who start out the smartest who end up the smartest. What does all this mean for you? The two mindsets. It's one thing to have pundits spouting their opinion about scientific issues. It's another thing to understand how these views apply to you. For 30 years, my research has shown that the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. It can determine whether you become the person you want to be and whether you accomplish the things you value. How does this happen? How can a simple belief have the power to transform your physiology and, as a result, your life? Believing that your qualities are carved in stone, the fixed mindset creates an urgency to prove yourself over and over. If you have only a certain amount of intelligence, a certain personality, and a certain moral character, well, then you would be better proof that you have healthy dose of them. It simply wouldn't do to look or feel deficient in this most basic characteristic. Some of us are trained in this mindset from an early age. Even as a child, I would focus on being smart, but fixed mindset was really stamped in my Mrs. Wilson, my sixth grade teacher. Unlike Alfred Binet, they believed that people's IQ score told the whole story of who they were. We were seated around the room in IQ order, and only the highest IQ students could be trusted to carry the flag, clap the erasers, and take the note to the principal. Aside from the daily stomach aches, she provoked with a judgmental stance. She was creating a mindset in which everyone in the class had on one consuming goal: look smart, do not look dumb. Who care about or enjoy learning when our whole being was at stake every time she gave us the test or called on us in class? I have so many people with this one-consuming goal of proving themselves in the classroom, in their career, in their relationship. Every situation calls for a confirmation of their intelligence, personality, or character. Every situation is evaluated. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look smart or dumb? Will I be accepted or rejected? Will I feel like a winner or a loser? But doesn't our society value intelligence, personality, and a character? Isn't it normal to want these traits? Yeah, but there is another mindset in which these traits are not simply a hand you are dealt and have to live with, always trying to convince yourself in order that you have a royal flush when you are secretly worried it's a pair of hands. In this mindset, the hand you are dealt is just the starting point for development. This growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts, your strategy, and help from others. Although people may differ in every which way in their initial talent and aptitudes, interests, or temperament, everyone can change and grow through application and experience. Do people with this mindset believe that anyone can be anything, that anyone with proper motivation or education can become Einstein or Beethoven? No. But they believe that the person's true potential is unknown and unknowable, that it's impossible to foresee what can be accomplished with years of patience, toil, and training. Did you know that Darwin and Tolstoy were considered ordinary children? That Ben Hogan, one of the greatest golfers of all time, was completely uncoordinated and graceless as a child. That the photographer Cindy Sherman, who has been on virtually every list of the most important artists of the 20th century, filled her first photography course. That Geraldine Page, one of our greatest actresses, was advised to give up for lack of talent. You can see how the belief that cherished the quality can be developed creates a passion for learning. Why waste time by proving over and over how great you are when you could be getting better? Why hide deficiencies instead of overcoming them? Why look for friends or partners who will just shore up your self-esteem instead of ones who will also challenge to grow? And why seek out the tried and true? Instead of experiencing that will stretch you, the patience for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset. This is the mindset that allows people to thrive during some of the most challenging times in their life. A few from the two mindsets. To give you a better sense of how the two mindsets work, imagine as vividly as you can that you are a young adult having a really bad day. One day you go to a class that is really important to you and that you like a lot. The professors written the midterm papers to the class. You got an AC plus. You are very disappointed that evening on the way back to your home. You find that you have gotten a parking ticket. Being really frustrated, you call your best friend to share your experience, but are sort of brushed off. What would you think? What would you feel? What about you would do? When I ask people with a fixed mindset, this is what they say. I would feel like a reject. I am a total failure. I am an idiot. I am a loser. I would feel worthless and dumb. Everyone's better than me. I am slime. In other words, they would see what happened as a direct measure of their competence and worth. This is what they would think about their life. My life is pitiful. I have no life. Somebody upstairs does not like me. The world is out to get me. Someone is out to destroy me. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. Life is unfair and all efforts are useless. Life stinks. I am stupid. Nothing good ever happens to me. I am the most unlucky person on this earth. Excuse me. Was there that distractions or just a great etiquette and a bad phone call? Are these just people with low self-esteem or card-carrying pessimists? No, when they are not coping with failure, they feel just as worthy and optimistic and bright and attractive as people with a growth mindset. So how would they cope? I wouldn't bother to put so much time and effort into doing well in anything. In other words, don't let anyone measure you again. Do nothing. Stay in bed. Get drunk. Eat. Yell at someone if I get a chance to. Eat chocolate. Listen to music to pot. Go into closet and sit there. Pick a fight with somebody. Cry. Break something. What is there to do? What is there to do? When I wrote the Fig Need, I intentionally made the grade AC plus, not AF. It was a midterm rather than a final. It was a parking ticket, not a card wreck. They were sort of brushed off, not rejected outright. Nothing catastrophic or irreversible happened. Yet from this raw material, the fixed mindset created the feeling of utter failure and paralysis. When I get people with a growth mindset the same fig need, here is what they say. They would think, I need to try harder in class, be more careful when parking the car, and wonder why. If my friend had a bad day, the C plus would tell me that I would have to work a lot harder in the class, but I have the rest of this semester to pull up my grade. There was many more like this, but I think you get the idea. Now, how would they cope directly? I would start thinking about studying harder or studying in a different way for my next test in that class. I would pay the ticket and I would work things out with my best friend the next time we speak. I would look at what was wrong on my exam, resolve to do better, pay my parking ticket, and call my friend to tell her I was upset the day before. Work hard on my next paper, speak to the teacher, be more careful where I park, or contest the ticket, and find out what's wrong with my friend. You don't have to have one mindset or the other to be upset who wouldn't be. Things like a poor grade or a rebuff from a friend or loved one, these are not fun even. No one was smacking their lips with release. Yet those people with the growth mindset were not labeling themselves and throwing up their hands. Even though they felt distressed, they were ready to take the risks, confront the challenges, and keep working at them. So what's new? In this such a novel idea, we have lots of saying that stress the importance of risk and the power of persistence, such as nothing venture, nothing gain, and if at first you don't succeed, try again. And Rome was not built in a day. By the way, I was delighted to learn that the Italians have the same expression. What is really missing is that people with a fixed mindset would not agree. For them, it's nothing venture, nothing loss. If at first you don't succeed, you probably don't have the ability. If Rome was not built in a day, maybe it was not meant to be. In other words, risk and effort are two things that might reveal your inadequacy and show that you were not up to the task. In fact, it's startling to see the degree to which people with a fixed mindset do not believe in putting in effort or getting help. What's also new is that people's ideas about risk and effort grow out there more basic mindset. It's not just that some people happen to recognize the value of challenging themselves and the importance of effort. Our research has shown that this comes directly from the growth mindset. When we teach people the growth mindset, with its focus on development, these ideas about challenge and effort follow. Similarly, it's not just that some people happen to dislike challenge and effort. When we temporarily put people in a fixed mindset, with its focus on permanent traits, they quickly fear challenge and devalue effort. We often see books with titles like The 10 Secrets of the World's Most Successful People crowding the shelves of bookstores, and this book may give many useful tips, but they are usually a list of unconnected pointers, like take more risks or believe in yourself. Well, you are left admiring people who cannot do that. It's never clear how these things fit together and how you could ever become that way. So you are inspired for a few days, but basically the world's most successful people still have their secrets. Instead, as you begin to understand the fixed and growth mindset, you will see exactly how one thing leads to another. How a belief that your quality or craft and stone leads to a house of thoughts and actions, and how a belief that your qualities can be cultivated leads to a house of different thoughts and actions, taking you down an entirely different roads. It's what the psychologists call an aha experience. Not only have I seen this in my research when we teach people a new mindset, but I get letters all the time from people who have read my work. They recognize themselves. As I read your article, I literally found myself saying over and over again, this is me, this is me. They see the connections. Your article completely blew me away. I felt I had discovered the secret of the universe. Yeah, they feel their mindsets reorienting. I can certainly report that kind of personality evolution happening in my own thinking, and this is an exciting feeling. And they can put this new thinking into practice for themselves and others. Your work has allowed me to transform my work with the children and see education through a different lens. Alright, just wanted to let you know what an impact on a personal and practical level your outstanding research has had for hundreds of students. I get lots of this letter from coaches and business leaders too. Self-insight. Who has accurate views of their assets and limitations? Well, maybe the people with a growth mindset don't think they are Einstein or Beethoven, but are not they more likely to have inflated views of their ability and tried for things they are not capable of? In fact, studies show that people are terrible at estimating their ability. Recently, we set out to see who is most likely to do this year. We found that people greatly misestimated their performance and their ability, but it was those with a fixed mindset who accounted for almost all the inaccuracy. The people with the growth mindset were amazingly accurate. When you think about it, this makes sense. If, like those with the growth mindset, you believe you can develop yourself, then you are open to accurate information about your current abilities, even if it's unflattering. What's more, if you are oriented toward learning, as they are, you need accurate information about your current abilities in order to learn effectively. However, if everything is either good news or bad news about your previous traits, as it is with fixed mindset people, distortion almost inevitably enters the picture. Some outcomes are motivated, others are explained away, and before you know it, if you don't know yourself at all. Howard Gardner, in his book Extraordinary Minds, concluded that exceptional individuals have a special talent for identifying their own strengths and weaknesses. It's interesting that those with a growth mindset seems to have that talent. What is in store? The other thing exceptional people seem to have is a special talent for converting life setbacks into future successes. Creativity researchers concur in a poll of 143 creativity research. There was wide agreement about the number one ingredient in creative achievement, and it was exactly the kind of perseverance and resilience produced by a growth mindset. You might be asking again, how can one belief lead to all of this? And the love of challenge, belief in effort, results in the face of setback and greater success. In the chapter that follows, you will see exactly how this happens, how the mindset changes the people strive for, and what they see as success. How they change the definition, significance, and impact of failure, and how they change the deepest meaning of effort. You will see how this mindset play out in school, in sport, in workplace, and in relationship. You will see where they come from and how they can be changed. Grow your mindsets. Which mindset do you have? Answer these questions about intelligence and read each statement and decide whether you mostly agree with it or disagree with it. 1. Your intelligence is something very basic about you that you cannot change very much. 2. You can learn new things, but you cannot really change how intelligent you are. 3. No matter how much intelligence you have, you can always change it quite a bit. 4. You can always substantially change how intelligent you are. Questions 1 and 2 are the fixed mindset question. The question 3 and 4 reflect the growth mindset. Which mindset did you agree with the more? You can be a mixture, but most people lean toward one or the other. You also have belief about other ability. You could substitute artistic talent, sport ability, or business skill for intelligence. Try it. It's not only your abilities, it's your personal qualities too. Look at the statements about personality and character and decide whether you mostly agree or mostly disagree with each one. 1. You certain kind of person, and there is not much that can be done to really change that. So, no matter what kind of person you are, you can always change substantially. 3. You can do things differently, but the important part of you, who you are, cannot really be changed. 4. You can always change basic things about the kind of person you are. Here, questions 1 and 3, the fixed mindset question, and the question 2 and 4 reflect the growth mindset. Which did you agree with more? Did it differ from the intelligent mindset? It can. How your intelligent mindset comes into play when situation involve mental ability. Your personality mindset comes into play in situations that involve your personal qualities. For example, how dependable, cooperative, caring, social skill you are. The fixed mindset makes you concerned with how you will be judged. The growth mindset makes you concerned with improving. Here are some more ways to think about mindsets. Think about someone you know who is deep in the fixed mindset. Think about how they are always trying to prove themselves and how they are super sensitive about being wrong or making mistakes. And did you ever wonder why they were this way? Or are you this way? Now you can begin to understand why. Think about someone you know who is skilled in the growth mindset, someone who understands that important qualities can be cultivated. Think about the ways they confront an obstacle. Think about the thing they do to stretch themselves. What are some ways you might like to change or stretch yourself? Okay, imagine you have decided to learn a new language and you have signed up for a class. A few sessions into the course, the instructor calls you to the front of the room and starts throwing questions at you one after another. Put yourself in a fixed mindset. Your ability is on the line. Can you feel everyone's eyes on you? Can you see the instructor's face evaluating you? Feel the tension? Feel your ego bristle and waver. What else are you thinking and feeling? Now put yourself in a growth mindset and you are novice. That's why you are here. You are here to learn and the teacher is resourceful learning. Feel the tension leave you and feel your mind open up. The message is you can change your mindset. Chapter 2 Inside the Mindsets. When I was a young woman, I wanted a prince like a mate. Very handsome, very successful, a big cheese. I wanted a glamorous career, but nothing too hard or risky. And I wanted it all to come to me as a validation of who I was. It will be many years before I was satisfied. I got a great guy, but he was a work in progress. I have a great career, but boy, is it a constant challenge? Nothing was easy, so why am I satisfied? I changed my mindset. I changed it because of my work. One day, my doctoral student, Mary Bandura, and I were trying to understand why some students were so caught up in improving their ability, while others could just let go and learn. Suddenly, we realized that there were two meanings to ability and not one, a fixed ability that needs to be proven, and a changeable ability that can be developed through learning. That's how the mindsets were born. I knew instantly which one I had. I realized why I would always be so concerned about mistakes and failure, and I recognized for the first time that I had to change. When you enter a mindset, you enter a new world. In all one world, the world of fixed trade success is about proving you are smart or talented, validating yourself. In the other, the world of changing qualities, it's about stretching yourself to learn something new, developing yourself. In one world, failure is about having a setback, getting a bad grade, losing a tournament, getting fired, getting rejected. It means you are not smart or talented. In other words, failure is about not growing, not reaching for the things you value. It means you are not fulfilling your potential. In one world, effort is a bad thing. It, like failures, means you are not smart or talented. If you were, you wouldn't need effort. In other words, effort is what makes you smart or talented. You have a choice. Mindsets are just belief. They are powerful belief, but they are just something in your mind, and you change your mind as you read it. Think about where you would like to go and which mindset will take you there. Is success about learning or proving you are smart? Benjamin Berber, an eminent political theorist, once said, I don't divide the world into the weak and the strong, or the successes and the failures. I divide the world into the learner and non-learners. What on earth would make someone a non-learner? Everyone is born with an intense drive to learn. Infants stretch their skill daily, not just originally skill, but the most difficult task of a lifetime, like learning to walk and talk. They never decide it's too hard or not worth or the effort. Babies don't worry about making mistakes or humiliating themselves. They walk, they fall, they get up, they just barge forward. What could put an end to this exuberant learning? The fixed mindset. As soon as children become able to evaluate themselves, some of them become afraid of challenge. They become afraid of not being smart. I have studied thousands of proud people from preschoolers on, and it's breathtaking how many reject an opportunity to learn. We offer a 4-year-old a choice. They could riddle an easy jigsaw puzzle, or they could try a harder one. Even at this tender age, children with a fixed mindset, the ones who believe in fixed trade, stuck with the safe one. Kids who are born smart do not do mistakes, they told us. Children with a growth mindset, the ones who believe you could get smarter through thought it was a strange choice. Why are you asking me this, lady? Why would anyone want to keep doing the same puzzle over and over? They choose one hard one after another. I'm dying to figure them out, exclaimed one little girl. So children with a fixed mindset want to make sure they succeed. Smart people should always succeed, but for children with a growth mindset, success is about stretching themselves. It's about becoming smarter. 7th grade girls sum it up. I think intelligence is something you have to work for. It is not just given to you. Most kids, if they are not sure of an answer, will not raise their hand to answer the questions, but that what I usually do is raise my hand, because if I am wrong, then my mistake will be corrected, or I will raise my hand and say, how will this be solved, or I don't get this, can you help me? Just by doing that, I'm increasing my intelligence. Beyond puzzle. It's one thing to pass up a puzzle. It's another to pass up an opportunity that's important to your future. To say if this would happen, we took advantage of an unusual situation. At the University of Hong Kong, everything is in English. Classes are in English, textbooks are in English, and exams are in English. But some students who enter the university are not fluent in English, so it would make sense for them to do something about it in a hurry. As students arrived to register for their freshman year, we knew which ones were not skilled in English, and we asked them the key questions. If the faculty offer a course for students who need to improve their English skill, would you take it? We also measured their mindset. We did this by asking them how much they agree with statements like this. You have a certain amount of intelligence and you cannot really do much to change it. People who agree with this kind of statement lean toward a fixed mindset. Those who lean toward the growth mindset agree that you can always substantially change how intelligent you are. Later, we look at who said yes to the English course. Students with a growth mindset said an emphatic yes, but those with a fixed mindset were not very interested, believing that success is about learning. Students with a growth mindset seized the change, but those with a fixed mindset didn't want to expose their deficiency. Instead, to feel smart in the short run, they were willing to put their college career at risk. This is how the fixed mindset makes people into non-learners. Brainwave tell the story. You can even see the difference in people's brainwave. People with both mindsets come into our brainwave lab at Columbia. As they answered hard questions and got feedback, we were curious about when their brain waves would show them to be interested and attentive. People with a fixed mindset were only interested when the feedback reflected on their ability. Their brain waves showed them paying close attention when they were told whether their answer were right or wrong. But when they were presented with information that could help them learn, there was no sign of interest. Even when they would get an answer wrong, they were not interested in learning what the right answer was. Only people with a growth mindset paid close attention to information that could stretch their knowledge. Only for them was learning a priority. What's your priority? If you had to choose, which would it be? Lots of success, of validation, or lots of challenge? It's not just an intellectual task. The people have to make these choices. People also have to decide what kind of relationship they want. Ones that bolster their ego or ones that challenge them to grow. Who is your ideal mate? We put these questions to young ladies, to young adults, and here's what they told us. People with a fixed mindset say the ideal mate will put them on a pedestal, make them feel perfect, worship them. In other words, the perfect mate will inspire their fixed qualities. My husband said that he used to feel this way, that he wanted to be the good of a person's, his partner religion. Fortunately, he chunked this idea before he met me. People with the growth mindset hope for a different kind of partner. They said their ideal mate was someone who would see their faults and help them to work on them, challenge them to become a better person, encourage them to learn new things. Certainly, they didn't want people who would be under or undermine their self-esteem, but they did want people who would foster their development. It's not just intellectual tasks that people have to make the choices. People also have to decide what kind of relationship they want. Ones that foster their egos or ones that challenge them to grow. Who is your ideal mate? We put this question to young adults and here is what they told us. People with a fixed mindset, the ideal mate would put them on a pedestal, make them feel perfect, worship them. In other words, the perfect mate would inspire their fixed qualities. My husband says that he used to feel this way, that he wanted to be a god of a one person, his partner religions. Fortunately, he chunked this idea before he met me. People with a growth mindset hope for a different kind of partner. They said their ideal mate was someone who would see their faults and help them to work on them, challenge them to become a better person, encourage them to learn new things. And certainly, they didn't want people who would pick on them or undermine their self-esteem, but they did want people who would foster their development. They didn't assume they would fully a flawless being who had nothing more to learn. Are you already thinking, what if the two people with different mindsets get together? A growth mindset woman tells about her marriage to a fixed mindset man. I had barely gotten all the rust out of my hair when I began to realize I made a big mistake. Every time I said something like, "Why don't we try to go out a little more?" or "I would like it if you consulted me before making decision," he was devastated. Then instead of talking about the issue I raised, I would have to spend literally an hour repairing the damage and making him feel good again. Plus, he would then run to the phone to call his mother, who always showed him with the constant adoration he seems to need. We were both young and new at the marriage. I just wanted to communicate. So that husband idea of a successful relationship, total uncritical acceptance, was not the wife's. And the wife's idea of a successful relationship confronting problem was not the husband's. One person's growth was the other person's nightmare. CEO disease. Speaking of reaching from atop a pedestal and wanting to be seen as a perfect, you won't be surprised that this is often called CEO disease. Lee Iacocca had a bad case of it. After the initial success of head of Chrysler Motors, Iacocca looked remarkably like our 4-year-old with a fixed mindset. He kept bringing out the same car models over and over with only superficial changes. Unfortunately, they were models no one wanted anymore. Meanwhile, Japanese companies were completely rethinking what cars should look like and how they should run. We know how this turned out. That Japanese cars rapidly swept the market. CEOs face this choice all the time. Should they confront their shortcomings, or should they create a world where they have none? Lee Iacocca chose the latter. He surrounded himself with worshippers, excelled the critic, and quickly lost touch with where his field was going. Lee Iacocca had become a non-linear, but not everyone catches CEO disease. Many great leaders confront their shortcomings on a regular basis. Darwin Smith, looking back on his extraordinary performance at Kimberly-Clark, declared, "I never stopped trying to be qualified for the job." These men, like the Hong Kong student with the growth mindset, never stopped taking the remedial course. CEOs face another dilemma. They can choose short-term strategies that boost the company's stock and make themselves look like heroes, or they can work for long-term improvement, risking Wall Street's approval. As they laid the foundation for the health and growth of the company over the longer haul, Albert Dunlap, a self-professed fixed mindsetter, was brought in to the turnaround sunbeam. He chose the short-term strategy of looking like a hero to Wall Street. The stock soared, but the company fell apart. Louis Gerstner, an avowed growth mindsetter, was called in to turn around IBM. As he said about the enormous task of overhauling IBM culture and policies, stock prices were stagnant and Wall Street sneered. They called him a failure. A few years later, however, IBM was leading in its fields again. Stretching. People in a growth mindset don't just seek challenge, they thrive on it. The bigger the challenge, the more they stretch, and nowhere can it be seen more clearly than in the world of sports. You can just watch people stretch and grow. Mia, the greatest female soccer star of her time, says straight out, "All my life I have been playing it up, meaning I have challenged myself with a player older, bigger, more skillful, more experienced, and shot better than me. First she played with her older brother. Then at 10, she joined the 11-year-old boys team. Then she threw herself into the #1 college team in the United States. Each day I attempted to play up to their level, and I was improving faster than I ever dreamed possible." Patricia Miranda was a chubby, unathletic high school kid who wanted to wrestle. After a bad beating on the mat, she was told, "You are a joke." First she cried, then she fell. That really set my resolve. I had to keep going and had to know it efforts and focus on belief and training could somehow legitimate me as a wrestler. Where did she get this resolve? Miranda was raised in a life devoid of challenge, but when her mother died of an aneurysm at age 40, 10 years old, Miranda came up with the principle: when you are lying on your deathbed, one of the cool things to say is, "I really explore myself." This sense of urgency was instilled when my mom died. If you only go through life doing stuff that's easy, shame on you. So when wrestling presented a challenge, she was ready to take it on. Her effort paid off. At 24, Miranda was having the last laugh. She wanted to spot for her weight group on U.S. Olympic team and come home from Athens with a bronze medal. And what was next? Yellow school. People urged her to stay where she was already on top, but Miranda felt it was more exciting to start at the bottom again and see what she could grow into this time, stretching beyond the possible. Sometimes people with the growth mindset stretch themselves so far that they can do the impossible. Christopher Reeve in 1995, the actor was thrown from a horse. His neck was broken, his spinal cord was severed from his brain, and he was completely paralyzed below the neck. Medical science said, so sorry, come to terms with it. Referee however, started a demanding exercise program that involved moving all part of his paralyzed body with the help of electrical stimulation. Why couldn't he learn to move again? Why couldn't his brain once again give command that his body would obey? Doctors warned that he was in denial and was setting himself up for disappointment. They had seen this before, and it was a bad sign for his adjustment. But really, what else was Reeve doing with his time? Was there a better project? 5 years later, Reeve started the vegan movement. First, it happened in his hand, then his arm, then leg, and then torso. He was far from cure. But brain scans showed that his brain was once more sending signal to his body that the body was responding to. Not only did Reeve stretch his ability, he changed the entire way science thinks about the nervous system and its potential for recovery. In doing so, he opened a whole new vista for research and whole new avenue of hope for people with spinal cord injuries, thriving on the sure thing. Clearly, people with the growth mindset thrive when they are stretching themselves, when the two people with the fixed mindset thrive, when things are safely within their grasp. If things get too challenging, when they are not feeling smart or talented, they lose interest. I watched it happen as we followed pre-med students through their first semester of chemistry. For many students, this is what their life have led to up to becoming a doctor. And this is a course that decided who gets to be one. It's one heck and of a hard course too. The average grade on exam is C+ for student who is rarely seen anything less than an A. Most students started out pretty interested in chemistry, yet over the semester something happened. Students with a fixed mindset stay interested only when they did well right away. Those who found it difficult show a big drop in their interest and enjoyment. If it was not a testimony to their intelligence, they couldn't enjoy it. The harder it gets, the more I have to force myself to read the book and study for the test. I was excited about chemistry before, but now every time I think about it, I get a bad feeling in my stomach. In contrast, students with a growth mindset continue to show the same high level of interest even when they found the work very challenging. It's a lot more difficult for me than I thought it would be, but it's what I want to do, so that only makes me more determined. When they tell me I cannot, it really gets me going. Challenge and interest went hand in hand. We saw the same thing in younger students. We gave fifth grades intriguing puzzles, which they all love, but when we made them harder, children with a fixed mindset show a big plunge in enjoyment. They also change their minds about taking some home to practice. It's okay, you can keep them. I already have them. Fib one child. In fact, they couldn't run from them fast enough. This was just true for children who were the best puzzle solvers. Having puzzle talent did not prevent the decline. Children with a growth mindset, on the other hand, couldn't tear themselves away from the hard problem. These were their favorites, and these were the ones they wanted to take home. Could you write down the name of these puzzles? One child asked. So my mom can buy me some more when they once run out. Not long ago, I was interested to read about Marina Semyonova, a great Russian dancer and teacher, who devised a novel way of selecting their student. It was a clever test for mindset, as a former student tells it. Her student first have to serve of a trial period, while she watches to see how you react to praise and to corrections. Those more responsive to the correction are deemed worthy. In other words, she separates the one who get their thrill from what's easy, what they have already mastered, from those who get their thrill from what's hard. I will never forget the first time I heard myself say, "This is hard, this is fun." That's the moment I knew I was changing mindsets. When do you feel smart? When you are flawless, or when you are learning? The plot is about two Decant, for in the fixed mindset, it's not enough just to succeed. It's not enough just to look smart and talented. You have to be pretty much flawless, and you have to be flawless and right away. We ask people ranging from grade scholars to young adult, when do you feel smart? The difference was striking. People with a fixed mindset said, it's when I don't make any mistake, when I finish something fast and it's perfect, when something is easy for me but when other people cannot do it. It's about being perfect right now. But people with a growth mindset said, when it's really hard, and I try really hard and I can do something I couldn't do before. Or when I work on something a long time and I start to figure it out. For them, it's not about immediate perfection, it's about learning something over time, confronting a challenge and making a progress. If you have ability, why should you need learning? Actually, people with a fixed mindset expect ability to show up on its own before any learning takes place. After all, if you have it, you have it, and if you don't, you don't. I see this all the time. Out of all the applicant from all over the world, the Department at Columbia admitted 6 new graduate students a year. They all had a amazing test score, nearly perfect grades, and recognition from eminent scholars. Moreover, they would be courted by the top grad school. It took one day for some of them to feel like complete imposter. Yesterday, they were a hot shots. Today they are failures. Here is what happened. They look at the faculty with our long list of publications. Oh my god, I can't do that. They look at the advanced students who are submitting article for publication and writing grant proposal. Oh my god, I cannot do that. They know how to take tests and get A's, but they don't know how to do this yet. They forget the yet. It's not that what school is for, to teach. They are there to learn how to do this thing, not because they already know everything. I wonder if this is what happened to Janet Cook and Stephen Glass. They were both young reporters who skyrocketed to the top. A fabricated article, Janet Cook won a Pulitzer Prize for the Her Washington Post article about an 8-year-old boy who was a drug addict. The boy did not exist, and she was later stripped of her prize. Stephen Glass was the whiz kid of the New Republic who seemed to have stories and short reporter only dream of. The sources did not exist, and the stories were not true. Did Janet Cook and Stephen Glass need to be perfect right away? Did they feel that admitting ignorance will discredit them with their all colleges? Did they feel they should already be like the big-time reporter before they did the hard work of learning how? We were stars, pre-career stars, wrote Stephen Glass, and that was what mattered. The public understand them as a cheats, and cheat they did, but I understand them as a talented young people, desperate young people who suck to the pressure of the fixed mindset. There was a saying in the 1960s that when becoming is better than being. The fixed mindset does not allow people the luxury of becoming. They have to already be. A test score is forever. Let's take a closer look at why in the fixed mindset it's so crucial to be perfect right now. It's because one test or one evaluation can measure you forever. 20 years ago, at the age of 5, Loretta and her family came to the United States. A few days later, her mother took her to her new school, where they promptly gave her a test, and the next thing she knew, she was in her kindergarten class. But it was not the Eagles, the elite kindergarten class. At time passed, however, Loretta was transferred to the Eagles, and she remained with that group of students until the end of that school. High school, garnering a bundle of academic prizes along the way, yet she never felt she belonged. The first test, she was convinced, diagnosed her fixed ability, and said that she was not a true eagle. Never mind that she had been 5 years old and had just made a radical change to a new country, or that maybe there had not been room in the Eagles for a while, or that maybe the school decided she would have an easier transition in a more low-key class. There are so many ways to understand what happened and what it means. Unfortunately, she chose the wrong one. For in the world of the fixed mindset, there is no way to become an eagle. If you were a true eagle, you would have aced the test and been hailed as an eagle at once. Is Loretta a rare case, or is this kind of thinking more common than we realize? To find out, we showed 5th grades a closed cardboard and told them, It had a test inside. This test we said measure an important school ability. We told them nothing more. Then we asked them questions about the test. First, we wanted to make sure that they would accept our descriptions. So we asked them, how much do you think this test measures an important school ability? All of them had taken our word for it. Next, we asked, do you think this test measures how smart you are? And do you think this test measures how smart you will be when you grow up? Students with a growth mindset had taken our word that the test measured an important ability, but they didn't think it measured how smart they were, and they certainly didn't think it would tell them how smart they would be when they grew up. In fact, one of them told us, no way, no test can do that. But the student with a fixed mindset didn't simply believe that the test could measure an important ability. They also believed just as strongly that it could measure how smart they were and how smart they would be when they grew up. They granted one test the power to measure their most basic intelligence now and forever. They gave this test the power to define them. That's why every success is so important. Another look at potential. This leads us back to the idea of potential and to the question of whether tests or expert can tell us what our potential is, what we are capable of, what our future will be. The fixed mindsets say yes, you can simply measure the fixed ability right now and project it into the future. Just give the test or ask the expert, no crystal ball needed. So common is the belief that potential can be known right now, that Joseph B. Kennedy felt confident in telling Martin Downey Jr. that he would be a failure. What had Downey? Later a famous television personality and author done. Why he had worn red sock and brown shoes to the Sort Club, a fancy New York nightclub. Martin Kennedy told him, I don't know anybody I have ever met in my life wearing red sock and brown shoes who ever succeeded. Young man, let me tell you now, you do stand out, but you don't stand out in a way that people will ever admire you. Many of the most accomplished people of our era were considered by experts to have no futures. Jackson Pollock, Martin Proust, Elvis Presley, Ray Charles, Lucille Ball, and Charles Darwin were all thought to have little potential for their chosen field. And in some of these cases, it may well have been true that they did not stand out from the crowd early on, but it's not potential someone's capacity to develop their skills with effort and coaching over time. And that's just the point. How can we know where effort, coaching, and time will take someone? Who knows? Maybe the experts were right about Jackson's, Marcel, Elvis, Rain, Lucille, and Charles in terms of their skill at the time. Maybe they were not yet the people they were to become. I once went to an exhibit in London of Paul Cézanne's early paintings. On my way there, I wonder who Cézanne was and what his painting were like before he was the painter we know today. I was intensely curious because Cézanne is one of my favorite artists, that the man who set the stage for much of modern art. Here's what I found. Some of the paintings were pretty bad. They were over-rock scenes, some violent, with amateurishly painted people. Although there was some painting that foreshadowed the later Cézanne, did not, was the early Cézanne not talented, or did it just take time for Cézanne to become Cézanne? People with a growth mindset know that it takes time for potential to flower. Recently, I got an angry letter from a teacher who had taken one of our survey. The survey portrayed a hypothetical student, Jennifer, who had gotten 65% on a math exam. It then asked teacher to tell us how they would treat her. Teacher with a fixed mindset were more than happy to answer our question. They felt that beyond knowing Jennifer's score, they had a good sense of who she was and what she was capable of. The recommendation abounded. Mr. Riordan, by contrast, was farming. Here is what he wrote. To whom it may concern. Having completed the educator's portion of your recent survey, I must request that my result be excluded from the study. I feel that the study itself is scientifically unsound. Unfortunately, the test uses a faulty premise, asking teachers to make assumptions about a given student based on nothing more than a number on a page. Performance cannot be based on one assessment. You cannot determine the slope of a line given only 1 point. As there is no line to begin with, a single point in time does not show trends, improvement, lack of effort, or mathematical ability. Sincerely, Michael D. Riordan. I was delighted with Mr. Riordan's critique and couldn't have agreed with it more. An assessment at a point in time has a little value for understanding someone's ability, let alone their potential to succeed in the future. It was disturbing how many teachers thought otherwise. That was the point of our study. The idea that one evaluation can measure you forever is what creates the urgency for those with a fixed mindset. That's why they must succeed perfectly and immediately. Who can afford the luxury of trying to grow when everything is on the line right now? Is there another way to judge potential? NASA thought so. When they were soliciting application for astronauts, they rejected people with the pure histories of success, and instead selected people who had a significant failure and bounced back from them. Jack Welch, the celebrated CEO of General Electric, chose executives on the basis of a runway, their capacity for growth. And remember Marina Sanova, the foreign ballet teacher, who chose the students who were energized by criticism. They were all rejecting the idea of fixed ability and selecting instead of for mindsets, proving you are special. When people with a fixed mindset opt for success over growth, what are they really trying to prove? That they are special, even superior? When we ask them, when do you feel you're smart? So many of them talk about times they felt like a special person, someone who was different from and better than other people. Until I discovered the mindset and how they work, I too thought of myself as more talented than others, maybe even more worthy than others because of my own men. The scariest thoughts, which I rarely entertained, was the possibility of being ordinary. This kind of thinking led me to need constant validation. Every comment, every look was meaningful. It registered on my intelligence scorecard, my attractiveness scorecard, my likability scorecard. If a day went well, I could have passed in my high numbers. One bitter cold winter night, I went to opera. That night, the opera was everything you hoped for, and everyone stayed until the very end. Not just the end of the opera, but through all the certain calls. Then we all poured into the street and we all wanted to take taxis. I remember it clearly. I was after midnight. It was 7 degrees. There was a strong wind, and as time went on, I became more and more miserable. I was part of an undifferentiated crowd. What change did I have? Suddenly a taxi pulled up right next to me. The handle of the back door lined up perfectly with my hand, and as I entered, the driver announced, "You are different." I lived for this moment, and not only I was so special, I could be detected from a distance. The self-esteem movement encourages this kind of thinking and has even invented devices to help you confirm your superiority. I recently came across an ad for such a product. Two of my friends sent me an illustrated list of each year of the top 10 things they didn't get me for Christmas. From January through November, they clip candidate items from catalog or download them from the internet. In December, they select the winners. One of my all-time favorites is the pocket toilet, which you fold up and return to your pocket after using. This year, my favorite was the I Love Me mirror. A mirror with I love me in a huge capital letter written across the bottom half. By looking into it, you can administer the message to yourself and not wait for the outside world to announce your specialness. Of course, the mirror is harmless enough. The problem is when special begins to mean better than others, a more valuable human being, a superior person, an entitled person. Yeah, special, superior, entitled.